Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here, and recently it was announced that Constantine will be making a return in animated form, featuring once again Matt Ryan, which is super awesome, as the voice of Constantine. And I had to do a video talking about it. I loved Constantine when it was on. I thought it was a phenomenal series that sadly just didn't get a second season. I was hoping, I think like everybody was, I'm like, man, I know it's getting canceled on NBC, I believe it was when it was airing, and I'm like, I kind of hope CW just, brings it on in, and sadly they didn't, but we did have an awesome episode, I want to say last year, with Constantine, where he does show up in Arrow, and they brought the music back from the show. Matt Ryan is like unbelievably phenomenal as Constantine, like he's great as Constantine, and it was just a great episode. I was like, holy crap, they brought Constantine in. He's officially part of, the CW, DC universe. With this announcement, it kind of means that they're going to keep him on. Because another thing, after he showed up in that, people were hoping that he would show up in Legends of Tomorrow. And that didn't happen either. So I was kind of like, oh man, there's really no Constantine talk. Maybe he will still show up, somewhere in the future. But for now, it's kind of just, it's dead silent. And then I'm on Twitter. I don't even remember what I was looking at, and somehow, all the algorithms, it's like, hey, you like nerdy stuff, so check this out. And then it was like Constantine's coming back as an animated series, and it got me super excited. So I cannot wait for this show to premiere. Of course, the big question is, what are they going to do with it? It's not going to follow, of course, the story of the series, I would assume, because not only would that kind of not make sense for the way they do their animated shows, for those of you that don't watch Vixen, that is a 30-minute season. They have 2 seasons of that show, and they're 30-minute episodes. That's it. And you watch it in like 6 parts or something. Yeah, you watch it in like 6 parts, 6 5-minute pieces. So I'm assuming that's how it's going to play out, which, that does suck, because I hate that they do that with Vixen as well. And especially with it going, I guess technically it's going to be going into its 3rd season. I was hoping that they would eventually expand upon it, because they've already made the character famous, and they've done it even more so now, because we have 2 characters that have played Vixen. We have our modern day Vixen, who has shown up in Arrow, which I believe was also last year, and we also have the current Vixen, who is from the 1940s, I believe, who is a main character in Legends of Tomorrow. So we have a lot of Vixen. There are 2 characters that have played Vixen, so we have 2 different versions of the same character. They're 2 different actual people, because they're from different times, but we've seen Vixen in a lot of different ways. So maybe there's the possibility that they'll expand the animated series now that they've kind of gone full force, like, hey, here's a live action version on a more consistent basis compared to here's a guest appearance of her in present day. We have this constant version in Legends of Tomorrow, who is one of the best characters in the show, if I'm being totally honest, for those of you that might not watch it. She's one of the best additions to this season, and she's just been a really great character. She's a super awesome fighter. She brings a very interesting dynamic to the series, as all the characters are from modern day, and she's from like the 1940s. So it's very interesting watching her kind of adapt to certain stuff. It's kind of TV based, so it's like she adapted like that, as if it's no big deal. It's like time travel and all this stuff. It's just like, well, whatever. But she still adds an amazing dynamic, so maybe they'll do something with that. It's like, alright, people like Vixen even more so. They've, kind of gone more into developing that, so they will, expand upon what they're doing with the CW seed, the animated series. And if that works out really well, maybe they'll do that, and they'll expand on Constantine at the same time. And it's like, alright, we'll do an hour, maybe even just an hour-long thing for, Vixen, and they'll do an hour-long thing for Constantine. I kind of doubt it. Animation is not easy. That's definitely a thing. I know that that's a huge factor as to why they do, such short seasons for the shows. It's like you watch an entire season is basically just an episode, cut up into 6 weeks. So I'm sure that that's how Constantine is going to work as well. I'm also curious when it's going to actually premiere, because I know it's like just been announced. As far as what I saw, there were no actual like premiere dates or anything like that. But Vixen recently, season 2 recently went off, I want to say, maybe the beginning of December. And it's like I said, it's only like 6 episodes, so it's like a month and a half sort of event. So I believe it ended in like the beginning of December, or somewhere in December. So it typically takes about a full year before they end up doing next season. So maybe that'll be kind of our balance for that, is here's kind of maybe like a 6-month, 5-month gap, we get Constantine, and then another 5-month gap or so, here's season 3 of Vixen. So that's still a long time, of course, especially for a 30-minute full, a full season that only technically takes place in, or takes up to 30 minutes to watch. But it would be nice, because that is one of the things with Vixen where I was like, man, it sucks that it takes so long for this to come out, because Vixen is amazing. That's an amazing animated series. The animation, all DC animated movies, they just look unbelievably amazing. They have the exact same quality for the Vixen animated series, so I'm very excited for that. Aside from the fact that it's animated and it looks good, animation brings in 100 million possibilities that you just can't do in live action. Like, they did a lot for the Constantine series as far as live action. They did, some stuff was visceral, some stuff just, crazy visual effects and things like that. But it's full on animated now. They can go like balls to the wall crazy with everything they want to do as far as magic and how everything looks, the visuals, possibly going to hell. I mean, that's one of the big things about it is, like I said, as far as the story, where's it going to pick up? I would love for it to continue, even if it was like 30 minutes. I would love for it to continue the actual story of the series. I really enjoyed that show so much. But I know that's not going to happen. They'd have to bring in the other 2 main characters as well. And I'm assuming they aren't going to do that. I haven't seen anything just yet that's announced them, but maybe in the upcoming weeks or maybe even upcoming days, we'll get to see like, hey, we are definitely bringing those characters in. Maybe it won't follow the exact storyline, because of course that was meant to be an entire series. Like, we're doing this specific thing for an entire series. But if they can at least get the 3 main characters and get all of them back as voice actors, that would be great. I mean, it would at least be the same people. They'd all be animated, but it would be the same characters, and maybe at some point, not only would Constantine show up in live action, but maybe his friends will as well. I believe his buddy's name was Chaz, and I can't remember the female lead character. I don't remember her name, unfortunately, but I loved the 3 of them. I thought they were all great, so I would love to see the other 2 supporting characters come in as well, but at this point, I just have to be excited that Constantine is coming back. They're going to have, with it being, of course, on the CW, or CW Seed, they will have the crossovers again. Maybe they'll do it just like Vixen, because they have like all the characters show up in her show, where it's like, the first season it was Oliver and Barry, and I know Cisco was in it, but I think Felicity was in the first season. If not, she was definitely in the second one. They had Ray in the second one. Laura was in season 2, Firestorm. Sorry if this is like a huge spoiler, but it's a 30-minute thing. It's really not much to spoil for you, and it's not a part of the main story. These are just like, hey, we got the characters, so let's just throw them in their animated form because it's cool. So maybe they'll do that. Considering the way they put Constantine in the show to begin with, they might show Oliver as the first sort of crossover character, because that's where Constantine first showed up at as far as the CW universe. So I would assume that he'd be the first guest character on there, but I'm excited to see what they do. We're getting, deeper and deeper into magic within the TV universe. Damien Dark, for those of you that don't watch Arrow, he was like a full-on magic villain in the last season of Arrow. So I'm excited for that. They've definitely gotten into magic, and they're getting into a lot of crazy stuff. Legend of Tomorrow, there's time travel, plus some other stuff going on there. So they've definitely dived kind of head on into magic, so Constantine easily fits right in. It's not like when he first showed up, it was like he was kind of an introductory to magic, really, because I think that was when Damien Dark showed up. But it was like, all right, here's Constantine, like, yep, full on magic, here you go. And I like that. I was like, all right, that's really cool. But now that we've had the full season of Damien Dark, and we've gone into other crazier things that they've expanded upon within the CW universe, I can't wait to see what they do with it. So I'm happy that the show's coming back, of course. Naturally, I want them to expand all this CW Seed stuff as far as the DC stuff, because we need longer seasons for these. They look amazing. If they can make hour-long seasons, that would be good. Even if they had to split those up and just make it like a 12-week thing. It would suck that it would still be 5-minute episodes, but if it ended after an hour instead of 30 minutes, that would, of course, would be better. It's just more content for us to enjoy. But I'm glad that the show's coming back. I hope that they get the other the other two actors to come in and, you know, have a main role in there. Of course, we also have our Angel character. I forgot his name as well, but he was kind of important in there too. He would show up every couple of episodes, so maybe he'll show up as well. I would assume he would, because he's actually like crucial to like Hellblazer comics, so, or at least, you know, specific storylines and stuff. So I would assume that he has to be in there. Once again, might be the same voice actor, might or same actor in general, might be a different person doing the voice, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But at this point, I think we can all just be happy that he's coming back. I know I am. I love this show. I was kind of devastated. Like, I didn't even know Constantine like that before the show came out, and I was like, man, like, that is just one of those things. It's kind of like, you know, the Marvel Netflix shows where it's like they just happen to have a character that's super awesome, but not enough people know, and that's what they did with Constantine. And unfortunately, maybe it's just because it was on NBC, and it's like that just wasn't the place for the comic book show. But they did a great job with it. And Matt Ryan, like I said, he was like the perfect choice to do Constantine. It was awesome. So I just can't wait for this show to come back. I know it's probably going to be, like I said, you know, the same as Vixen, where it's just a little 30-minute animated thing. But I'm excited for it. And, you know, even Vixen is basically all magic, so they could easily just do like straight crossovers with the two of them. And it's just like, yep, she's full on magic, he's full on magic, just demons and angel stuff. Just blend it all together, and hopefully we start getting the, you know, both of them in live action a little bit more. And I don't know what they're going to do with Vixen, because like I said, they have the Legend of Tomorrow Vixen. I don't know what they're going to be doing with that, because it's like they don't have the same actress, because it's a different Vixen from the 1940s. So I don't know how that's supposed to play out in the future, or if that character is going back to the 1940s at the end of the season, or how that's playing out. But we have two Vixens, so at some point I assume we're going to get to see the modern day Vixen again, because we haven't seen her since that one episode, and all of her seasons take place like in between the live action shows seasons. So it's like you have this season of a show, and then Vixen takes place in between these two seasons, and then the live action seasons start up again. So, you know, like you have characters like Laurel show up and things like that, where it's like, okay, this was like, you know, almost a year and a half ago is where this season actually takes place at. So it's very interesting how they do that. So I'm curious if they'll do the same thing with Constantine in order to have those animated crossover events. So no matter what, I'm excited for it. Of course, definitely want to know what you guys think about it. So please comment below and let me know. I don't think there's anything bad about it. I mean, there's nothing bad about this. Constantine is coming back. Of course, like I said, I would love to know what you guys want to see, whether you're a big fan of, you know, Constantine from the comic books or from the show. I want to know what you guys want to see in this animated series. Me personally, like I said, I would love it if it somehow managed to continue from the live action show. I just don't think that'll ever freaking happen, because it's 30-minute seasons. But even without that, I would really love for them to get the other actors to come in. I don't know what they're doing right now. I haven't like seen those actors acting in anything. I'm sure they have been, and I just haven't seen it. But I would love it if they could find a way to get those actors to come back. Excuse me, with it being only 30 minutes, I think that makes it a lot easier. And it's like, alright, you guys were just doing an episode of a show, record it all, and it's done, and then they go about their business. I feel like that's easier. I'm also not in the business of, you know, production and recording and stuff, so I don't really know. But I would assume that they can get a nice 30-minute episode in one day, and just be like, alright, we can get all our actors in, done. So, or even without that, I mean, it's animation. They always take multiple days to record, so you never know. But that's how I feel about it. Like I said, definitely want to know what you guys think about this amazing news. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.